my name is Celeste Rosbach, and I'm going to be reflecting on how I can implement ideas from Teach Like a Pirate to improve the quality of my teaching as well as my professional satisfaction over the next 5+ years. And in part 1 of Teach Like a Pirate, Dave Burgess discusses passion as the P for pirate. And within this, he talks about why do we want to teach. So making sure that we reflect and understand the why of why we are even teaching in the first place. And also something that really caught my attention in this was the personal passion. So outside of the profession of teaching, what is our passion? And bringing those things to life in the class and making connections. So he says here, passion is all about being on fire in front of your class. It's immersion. So you want to make sure that you are fully present in the moment. And this is something that I have been really working on in all aspects of my life. So just really trying to be present in the moment, regardless of what I'm doing, regardless if I'm in the classroom in front of my students, or if I'm hanging out with a friend or with a loved one or anything like that. Just being present in the moment and going with the flow and just surrendering the need to be in control all the time. This is also something else that I've been working on regularly because I do tend to aim for perfection and want to be in charge and control things and make sure that they go my way exactly how I have them planned in my head, which is definitely not how it ends up happening in real life, especially when it comes to teaching. So I really see myself implementing this idea for the rest of my life, essentially. As for the R, this stands for rapport. So you want to make sure that you engage with your students to prevent misbehavior before it even starts, making sure you're connecting with students, connecting with their lives outside of the classroom and their interests, and also spending informal time with students. I really found this to be very helpful. Some of my most talkative students, they usually talk to me before and after class, and I've built that rapport with them and this relationship with them, whereas when they're in class and they're talking when they're not supposed to be, it's very easy for me to give them that look and they just know to stop talking. So yeah, it's really important to have these relationships, not just with your students, but in all aspects of life as well, because we're going to be working with other people, other colleagues. We may not always see eye to eye, but you still want to make sure you maintain these positive relationships and build this rapport with one another. So ask and analyze. So you want to make sure that you ask the right questions. Also in regards to creativity. So this is something that I've really connected with as well, because I tend to, not that I don't think I'm creative, but I overthink things when I really should just, do it instead. So making sure that I understand that creativity can be nurtured and it can be developed, and making sure I take risks and just try things out. Instead of thinking about failure, think feedback that leads to improvement. For example, there's no such thing as failure, which is what he stated on page 48. So that really stuck with me as well. And here's a quote that I really felt I resonated with this quote a lot. I actually shared it in class a couple weeks ago, but it states, "Be proactive in your pursuit of your vision for your classroom and life. The law of attraction is real. Your thoughts are magical and have the power to manifest your dreams, but not without your active participation in the process." So I'm all about the idea of manifesting your reality, but there's one thing to, manifest and think these things and see them happening, but there's another to actually do them and put in the work and effort to get to that point. So I really found this to be, it really connected with me on a personal level in all aspects of my life, not just specifically regarding teaching, but anything I want, essentially, I can have that. But I have to actually, put in the work, put in the effort to achieve that. For transformation, here I like the idea of envisioning your ideal classroom experience and analyzing where you're currently at, your current reality, and working to fill in the gap in between the ideal classroom experience and the current reality. You also want to make sure, like I said before, you make material applicable to students' lives. As for enthusiasm, you really want to make sure you are enthusiastic about what you're teaching and about what you're doing, not just in the classroom, but in all aspects of your life. You want to bring that enthusiasm, that fire to whatever you're doing. As for part 2 of Teach Like a Pirate, he includes a lot of examples of things to use in the classroom regarding hooks. Hooks is a really big one that he talks about. So focusing here on crafting engaging lessons, so presentational hooks. There's some that can include elements of movement, which are very effective, and also engaging students with music and art is another big one. My university supervisor is really all about the arts, so he actually has given me some helpful feedback regarding ways to implement music and art in the classroom. For example, sometimes students can learn how to transition on like a specific cue when they hear a specific song come on, little things like that to kind of also tie into classroom management and just overall engage the students with music, because music is really, I don't know, it's a really cool thing, and I enjoy music, so I'm sure my students will enjoy music as well. And a large chunk of the remainder of the book focuses in on various hooks that we can utilize and implement in our classroom to engage students. So I'm going to quickly go through these, but a lot of them did have me thinking about how I can implement them in my future classroom, maybe not necessarily right now in my student teaching placement, but I mean, there's some that I can possibly try out and I'm willing to try out, take that risk and try and see what happens. But definitely more so of these I would love to implement later on down the road with my own students in my official classroom. But here we have some, so making sure we engage students with relevant connections. So we have the student hobby hook, real world application, and then we have all the world is a stage. So here he talks about manipulating and controlling the environment, which is the classroom environment. So here we can play around with lights, play around with the desk arrangement, how we seat the desks in the classroom, things like that. Maybe I can dress up, for example, so costume hook, bring in some props, just really connect with the audience and make our students engaged and really connected and motivated to learn the material. We have stand and deliver. So here he talks about how teachers are public speakers, which is something else that I tend to reflect upon a lot, because growing up I always told myself, like, I know I hate talking in front of groups, I hate public speaking, all that stuff. And here I am pursuing a career where essentially like he said, I am essentially a public speaker pretty much every day. So just ways to make it more engaging and more exciting in regards to like storytelling and things like that. Here we have advanced tactics that he says have the power to engage students if they are used properly. One big thing about this part that I liked and that I will most likely continue to reflect upon throughout my career in the teaching profession is this idea of embracing the technological revolution. So having grown up with all this new technology and kind of being exposed to it at a young age, it has become almost like second nature to me. But I understand that there's teachers who are maybe not as used to this, so it's a little different switching from not having like all this technology and then all of a sudden it's in the classroom with Chromebooks and et cetera, et cetera. So just making sure that I'm staying up to date and, not overloading my students with a bunch of new things, thinking schmoker, but still kind of, taking advantage of this technology and making connections with students because they're very much tech savvy, even more than me nowadays. Then we have around the edges, so making sure around out the class with some finishing touches. I thought this chef hook was really cool, so bringing in ways to implement like food and drink in the classroom. I love food, so I really like that, so that's something else that I'm going to think about and take with me moving forward. And then part 3, he just kind of concludes with the awkward question, do you want to be great? Yes, I want to be great. So making sure that we know that mediocrity does not motivate, so instead passion and enthusiasm will motivate our students. And, making sure we know what our mighty purpose is, making a decision about your life's purpose and following that. And then he asks, where do I start? So you want to make sure that you take action and you find a crew of like-minded individuals, and you end up finding treasure after that. So the whole point of this book, I've found it to be very insightful, not just regarding the teaching profession, but as just our lives as a whole. I found it to be very, very insightful, and I look forward to taking majority, if not all, of these ideas forward with me. I, in fact, already visited his website and I subscribed to his email list. So I'm definitely a fan of this book. I felt very connected to it, and I resonated with a lot of the claims and ideas and things that Dave Burgess talks about in his book, Teach Like a Pirate. Thank you so much. Bye.